safety and security net. Please take care and purchase your own and/or trains as underfoot surfaces may be affected by the weather. Government guidance states public transport.
Hello again, and welcome back to the Glasgow South Model Tram and Rail Route workshops. We're getting ready for Model Rail in 2 weeks' time. And one of the things we're going to be doing is the station wall I was telling you about. My last workshop, it was a great big long bit, but I've managed to get my chairman to cut it down a bit. And I'm going to show you how we paint it now. It seems daft painting a wall. Emily can paint a wall, but it's the weathering bit that counts once it's painted. We're going to be doing various things at Model Rail. We're not only going to be doing the wall. Bernard's going to be showing us how this started off, how you've got the balsa on both sides with the plywood in the centre, and then how he scribes it. And I'll obviously be showing you how to paint it and weather it. But there will be a lot of other things over the weekend that the club will be doing. Those of you who saw the last workshop will also know that I bought 6 small containers of stone colour paint, and the pink one, the pink red, or the red stone as they call it, we've used quite a bit of that because we're obviously doing the pavements as well with the multicoloured stones that we did. Those of you who would like to see that, there is a workshop already made for that. If you have a wee look at that, you can see that. But the wall itself that we made along by the goods yard, that used up an awful lot of the pink paint. And I didn't want to go and buy one of the wee jars of paint to keep this going. So what I did was I took the wee jar of paint up to B&Q, and I says, can you match that? And the lassie said, yes, I'm sure we can, and she put it in the machine. And we got one of these match pots for £4, which is probably got about 10 times as much of the paint, and it's roughly the same colour. There may be a slight, if any, difference in the colour of paint that's used. But once it's weathered, it's not really going to be noticed anyway. So we might have to, some of the other paints are getting pretty far down the wee jar, so we might have to do some of them as well. But it's good to know that you can get a match. You know, I think the six wee jars of paint were about, I think by the time the VAT and the postage and everything top it, I think it was about £26 or something. Whereas you got the whole of that for £4. It's an acrylic paint, it's a water-based paint, and I've done one bit of the wall already just to test it out. Yes, we've got to thin it down a bit, which obviously takes a wee bit to get it to the right consistency. We just thin it down with water till we get it roughly what the original was, and it goes on with the brush with no problems. So we'll have a wee look at that, and then we'll get stuck right into it. I'll be back shortly, folks. Okay folks, here we are, and this is the bit of wall that I already did. As you can see, it's got the pink along the 2 sides and then the grey along the top. Now, if I was doing this, I wouldn't have put these coping stones on at the start, because it makes it a lot more difficult to paint without getting the pink onto here. I would wait until the pink was done and the weathering was done, and then paint this coping stones as a separate item, and then glue it on. I did ask our chairman to do that, and unfortunately he forgot. I mean, it makes it a bit more difficult for me. But anyway, So we'll put that aside, and here we have the actual bit of wall, and it's got 2 pins in the bottom of it to secure it, but I'm going to stick it in there so that I can see. What I've done is I've got a wee dish of this pink paint, and I've thinned it down a wee bit in order to make it a bit more flowing a bit better. So we just spread it out. Although you can't see this really very well, but it gives you some idea. The balsa wood will absorb this paint, it will suck it in, which is better because it actually makes it dry quicker. But you just put a wee drop in the brush at a time and just kind of work it in. So that's that side done. And what I'll do is I'll try and, I can't do it all at this, but I can do part of it so that you can see the paint going on. I'll do the bottom half of it. Front there. As I see it does dry pretty quick. Again, I can see some of the detail getting kind of clogged up, so you've got to clear it out so that you don't lose the detail of the stones. And that's not bad. So I'll be back in a wee minute. Okay folks, we're back again, and going to leave that first bit to dry, and we've got another section here of wall. This is the final section. One section was already done, so I'll kind of try and speed it up. I'm going to use a bit of a broader brush this time, just to kind of speed it up a wee bit. Don't want to rush it, but at the same time I don't want to be having a workshop too long. Use a wee bit narrow brush for the top, just a wee more detail. And then we've got the same on the other side, which I will use. I'll just stick the wee brush back into the water so that they go hard. Go back to the big one, just to do the most of the wall so that you just want to work it into the stonework basically. That's all there is to this. It's really the workshops are really based at beginners to give you ideas. More experienced guys, they'll have already done this, but there we are. That's it done. So we'll just leave that to dry and we'll take a wee break there and I'll be back shortly. Okay folks, we're back again, and the only thing we've got to do immediately is just the top stones, which are quite easy to do. I'm using the blue stone this time for that. It's more of an actual grey stone in my way, but I'm not going to argue over it. So just again brush it on. Make sure we get between the stones so there's no white bits. Just lie it in its size so you can see exactly where you want the paint. Don't want to get too much paint, just enough to cover the white. That side done. And there we are, just the wee bits in between. And there we are, just the wee bits in between. And that's it. So there we are. I'm not going to do the other one with you because that's just to let you see how that's done, which really self-explanatory. There's a wee bit of light showing through there, so we'll just, I do apologise, obviously I had that out of camera there. So that's the wall, and I'm going to stop there and I'll be back later on. Hello folks, we're back again now. I've done both tops of the wall. This is the next bit, and this is where the weathering takes place. So I have a container of black paint which I will proceed to water down, and then mix up. So it's really just a water paint we've got here. Maybe just put a wee bit more of the paint in it, just to, not a lot, just enough to, I want it to colour the pink stone, more than weather it in other words. Okay, so the next stage is, I think I'll zoom out a wee bit on this. There we are. So the next stage we've got to do is mix white for mixer, and I've got here a bag of makeup sponges. I also have got a couple of makeup pads, furry pads, but I think this will be better. So what, we've got a triangular one here, different shapes. So we'll use I'll move one of these out of the way. And all we do is we lay the wall down and we dip the flat side into the mixture. And all you do is just run it down the outside of the wall. Now don't worry, it might not look right at the start, but it will weather down quite well. We might have to put a wee bit more. This is where it gets technical. We've got to just get enough paint just to, maybe just a wee bit watery at the moment actually, but we can easily mix it up. We don't want to obscure the pink stone, but at the same time you want the black to cover it, but still the pink show through, if you can take my drift on that. So here we go again. No point putting that there, folks. You can't see it. See it beginning to come now. It's just takes a wee bit of just leave it there. Some of it there must be glue on it, so that's why it's probably no weathering very well, but now we just leave that to dry in. We'll try the other one. You just got to experiment till you get the effect you want. Put a wee bit more, I think, black in it. There, you see the effect of it now beginning to come on. There are bits that won't take it because of there must be glue on it. Perhaps once the black is dried in, do it again, eventually it will cover it. Doesn't matter if it doesn't actually, because so there we are, folks. That's how you weather it. You just got to experiment with the weathering until you get the effect you want. So that's this workshop done. Now I hope to see some of you at Monorail Scotland in a few weeks' time. Please do come and say hello and talk to some of the club. If you're looking for a club and you stay in the area, we'll be more than welcome to see you. Just remember, we don't have any layouts that are DCC powered. We only do DCC. At the moment we only have 00 layouts, and we don't really have any room for any new layout. We've got Peacock Cross and we've got Maxwell Wharfs, which we're working on at the moment. Bernard's got his tramcar layout that he keeps at home, and that's about it at the moment. But if you fancy coming along, even just for a visit, you're most welcome. We meet on Monday nights at 7:30 until around about 10 o'clock. You're better contacting me first of all, just to make sure we are on, because sometimes we don't meet if there's a public holiday. Sometimes we usually do meet, but sometimes we don't. We certainly don't meet the day after Monorail. That is one night the club is not on, because after you've done a 3-day show, you're pretty shattered. Even just sitting on the modelling bench. And being quite honest about it, folks, we don't really get an awful lot done on the modelling bench because people talk to us, and we just love to talk to the public to get their ideas and to give them ideas on their own layouts. So feel free to come and ask us. We don't bite, and we'll be only too glad to help you. So, from Andy Russell at the Glasgow South Moral Tram and Rail Group, keep on shunting, keep on modelling, and may God bless you.
Midnight, speak to staff or text British Transport Police on 61016. We will sort it, see it, say it, sorted.